Hey there, folks. I'm at the NRB in Orlando. I don't really love Orlando, but it sure beats that gerbil maze in Nashville, where we often meet for the NRB. Oh my gosh! I'm sitting here. My cackling friends are the gentlemen behind Loor TV. It's LOOR, Loor TV, and well, I'm forgetting Jason's last name. Marcus Pittman.
Jason Farley.
Okay, now you have to speaking to the microphone.
Jason Farley.
Farley and Pittman. You guys, you've been on the program before talking about Loor TV, but most people listening right now are going to say, I don't know what that is, LOOR.TV. So why don't you tell my uninitiated friends who are listening right now, what is Loor TV and why am I a fan of it already?
So Loor TV is a streaming platform that's like Kickstarter and Netflix had a non-woke baby.
Kickstarter
and Netflix
had a non-woke baby. You got to say these things slowly because that's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are anti-woke. You're at least non-woke.
Yeah.
You are, both of you are men of faith, but in the best sense. Like, you're really serious about your faith, but you're also really serious about being fun and edgy, which to my mind is central. Like, I don't see any characters in the scripture who are Hallmark safe kind of people.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the Roman poet Horace said, "He who entertains most, he who entertains best educates most."
Horace said that?
Yeah, Horace said that in the Ars Poetica.
Can I tell you, first of all, I didn't expect that somebody would be quoting the Ars Poetica on this program. This is a family show, and we're going to have to edit that out. But seriously, Ars Poetica, it's not ARSE, it's ARS.
It means the art of poetry.
Ars Poetica,
in
but Horace,
yeah.
This is a sentiment I've heard attributed to many people, but the
right.
quote from Horace, say it again because it's good.
He who entertains best educates most.
Okay. I'm not kidding. I didn't know that Horace had said that.
Yeah.
That's what, the first century?
First century, and that's where Horatio comes from. So Hamlet is most famous for having Horatio say that at the end of the play, but Horatio is based on Horace. So
how could a TV executive be so smart? It doesn't make any sense. You think you're a fraud.
I am not.
You're not?
I dropped out of Bible college.
All right, so
I have no idea what he's talking about.
So you guys, Jason Farley and Marcus Pittman, you guys started Loor TV, LOOR.TV, and if I sound like I'm advertising it, it's because I want people to discover it. I already know enough because we've had enough conversations on the air and off the air. I'm excited about your vision. So I guess the question is, if somebody's just tuning in right now and they want to check it out before they even hear about it, where would they go?
Yeah. Actually, right now, if you go to loor.tv/Eric, ERIC, you can sign up right now. Your listeners can be the first to subscribe.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Loor, 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 LOOR.TV/Eric?
Yes.
And people can subscribe?
Yes.
Okay, what are they getting?
So when you subscribe, this is what our platform is so magical, because right now, we like to say we're the streaming platform with no content yet.
Yet.
So
But I've heard about some of the content that you're gonna have, and that's why I'm so excited to have you.
And the content. So basically, what it is when you have a Netflix subscription or a Disney subscription, you give that money to Marxist Hollywood executives.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Who doesn't want to fund Satan's projects around the world? Come on, people.
We all do it. We all do it.
Hey, Satan's minions got to eat just like everybody else. No, but you're right. When you're talking about Disney Plus, you're talking about Netflix, you're giving money to places that at best are not working, are not doing things to bring the culture in the direction that most of us would want.
Right.
That's at best. Some of them are working very actively against everything we believe in, including, liberty on the American model.
Yeah.
So when you subscribe to Loor TV, obviously, because I know you both, the opposite is true.
Yeah, so every week we're giving people loot. With that, it's $14 a month for a subscription, but you're spending that $14 a month funding movies and TV shows. And once a show is funded, it'll stream on the platform for everyone to see.
Okay.
So the community's coming together, and we're building a streaming platform one piece of content at a time.
Look, we've talked about some of the stuff you guys are, creating.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it is some of your stuff
all
is
him.
so edgy and funny and beautiful. But part of me feels like, whenever I encounter guys like you, I feel like, you can't make it up. Like, this is just sui generis, to stick with our Latin theme. It is talk about some of the stuff. I mean, some of this stuff is so hilarious and edgy. Talk about the teddy bears.
Yeah, so we've got a show coming up called Barely Biblical, and it's about animated stuffed teddy bears reenacting the most violent stories of the Old Testament. So,
what teenage boy is not willing to pay $14 a month to watch that?
Or a dad and his sons.
No joke. Because I want to see, what's interesting is that the two of you take the Bible seriously. You're not mocking it.
Right.
But because, and I'm with you on this, we take it all so seriously that we're free to have fun.
Right.
We are free to do crazy stuff. So it's called Barely Biblical.
Barely Biblical,
Bearly. Barely Biblical is so stupid. And it is stuffed teddy bears reenacting the most violent scenes from the Old Testament.
Yeah, so like instead of blood, it's fluff coming out of them, and all of the...
It's comedy gold.
All the Gentile bears have the full tag, and all the Jewish bears have a clipped tag, and the whole business.
Goodness. Wow. I thought we were like pushing the boundaries with Ars Poetica.
I know.
But
we should ask Dennis Prager what he thinks. He's right next to us.
I know, Dennis is right next to us. I hope he's not overhearing this, because we've been friends up till now. So, but seriously, you're creating a lot of content that dares to be really funny and edgy.
Yeah.
But that is not that doesn't go too far. In other words, unless you're a Hallmark Channel devotee and they're out there.
Yeah.
Unless you're someone who really doesn't have that sense of wanting that from entertainment, you're going to be, I think, surprised and shocked and thrilled. And as I said, I'm glad you guys could be on the program again, because I just want people to know, to have hope that there are people out there doing stuff like this. It's just fantastic. So talk more about what you're going to have at Lure. So it's Lure, LOOR.TV/Eric if you want to sign up.
Yeah. So we have another one. This is a really important story. There was a black woman who streamed video games on Twitter, very popular. Name was Gothix, and she dared to question the narrative. And when everybody was freaking out about the Little Mermaid, the new casting of the Little Mermaid, she said, well, it's possible that there's reasons besides racism that somebody thinks it's a bad casting call, and she got canceled.
And this is a black woman who got canceled for making a common sense observation.
Right, for saying, she said, I was surprised too. I just wanted her to look like Ariel that I grew up with. Right, that's not a radical statement.
No,
but she got canceled so significantly that she lost her entire income, lost her, where she didn't have a place to live, everything, because she was, she had questioned the narrative that everybody said you have to think this way if you're black.
Right.
And so, and a filmmaker came in and said, "Can I tell your story?" And so they went back and have put together her whole story, and her movement from towing the line to becoming a conservative to becoming a Christian in the process. Her and her boyfriend, and just is an amazing story, and the movie's really moving. My 17-year-old daughter watched it and said, "Dad, every teenager in this country needs to see this movie."
Now, what is it called?
It's called Gothix.
Gothix?
Gothix.
Now, will that be available at Lure.tv?
Yep, it's funding right now.
Oh, it's funding. Okay.
Yeah.
So we want to make this clear, that when these
made.
things get funded through the subscription, they get produced. And
this one's already made. So when it gets funded, then it immediately starts to stream.
All right. Gosh, it's exciting. Now, we were talking last night. You've got some stuff that is so funny. The comedy level. Now, the point is that this kind of comedy has always existed.
Right.
But for people who are like devout Christians to feel the freedom to do this kind of comedy. That's what's new, and that's what's exciting to me, because I've always had this twisted sense of humor, and I think we all know there are limits.
Right.
But the idea is that some people, they play it so safe that they can never really say anything, and so that's why I get excited. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about Lure TV. So it's lure.tv, and you're telling people they can subscribe. I didn't know this. They can subscribe now, lure.tv/Eric.
Yep.
All right, well, I don't think we've sold them enough. When we come back, we're going to talk more. We'll be right back. Hey, folks, I'm talking to the two men behind Lure TV. Literally a year ago, I met these guys at NRB. Can anything good come out of NRB? Well, yes. I met the Lure TV guys at NRB. No kidding. LOOR.TV. And you guys are creating insane content, really kind of wildly entertaining, edgy stuff, but also profoundly serious about God and truth. And, you know, anybody knows that's we're talking about reality. The characters in the Bible, I said it before, that, you know, John the Baptist was not like a Hallmark Channel kind of guy. This is not just to diss the Hallmark Channel, although why not? But the fact is that you guys are willing to go there. So I want to hear a little bit of your stories, like how did you get to this place?
Yeah. So
this is Marcus talking.
So I was a documentary filmmaker. I was head of video production for an agency that handled a faith-based streaming network's marketing. And I made this documentary on abortion that got deleted off of Amazon Prime. And it was actually 3 years ago, Memorial...
What was the title?
Babies Are Still Murdered Here.
Oh, wait a minute. You can't say that. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Babies Are Still Murdered Here. So you made a documentary called Babies Are Still Murdered Here. Obviously, you and I were pro-life. Yeah. And it was a documentary, and it did air initially on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
And then some of the woke people said, you can't do that.
Right. Yeah, and so it was deleted and removed, and I thought, we have a real problem, because a majority of the Christian film industry is like Hallmark movies, and then Hollywood is never going to let us make the kind of movies that we want to make. So there's this massive middle, which we've found out really now is just content for men. Because the majority of content was made, like whether it's Christian movies or books or music, it was made for women who shop at Lifeway Christian bookstores or family Christian bookstores, and those bookstores don't exist anymore. So we wanted to make content for men. And so that's why we're pushing the envelope and really
now to be clear, because I've talked to you guys a lot, this isn't only content for men. Nonetheless, because there are tons of women who don't fit that Hallmark demographic.
Right. Yeah.
And it's sort of funny, because it's like when I see this, Christian fiction, like an Amish romance novel or whatever's out there, and there's money to be made there.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that it's good.
We believe that when you make content for men, the wives and the women will follow. Because women go with their husbands to see Top Gun. Women's watch The Mandalorian and Star Wars with their husbands. So that we believe is content for everybody, but it starts with the male being the leader of his household and being the one making decisions on the content.
That's a shocking patriarchal notion. And
it is highly patriarchal.
That's like biblical propaganda. I can't believe you would mention that on this program. What is wrong with you? People might be listening to this. No, but it's kind of interesting. So you're willing to go there and kind of do edgy stuff. Yeah. And so it started for you, Marcus, when your documentary was pulled off of Amazon Prime. That's when you said, we got to create our own platform.
Yeah, and I had I was a
and this is Jason talking.
Jason, I was a screenwriter, comedy writer, and I had a show in development with a Netflix producer, and each time it went up another level, I had to re-explain why it was that there were mentions of God and that sort of thing. Well, the show was called Dante, and it was a high school comedy about a high school senior navigating the 9 levels of high school hell. So, I kept having to explain, it has to have God in it, it's Dante, right?
Yeah,
this is Dante.
Yeah,
and his
remember
best
those
friend.
people who lived in the Middle Ages? They actually believed in
Right,
God.
yeah.
You idiot! No, come on. You're kidding me? You're kidding me.
So
you're not kidding me.
Not kidding. Yeah. So is about best friends Dante and Petrarch at a high school, and so. But during COVID, I got all of the rights to the show back and everything, and thought that path isn't open anymore for Christians to tell stories that just reflect truth, right? It's not propaganda. It's not, but it's just trying to reflect
truth has fallen out
Yeah,
of favor.
It has.
Truth is being canceled. Reality is being canceled also.
And they know that they're ignoring a large part of the market, or they know now because they made Cuties and they lost the largest number of subscribers in a month that they ever had in the history of.
Remind my audience quickly, because it's too painful to remember.
It was a
Netflix.
Netflix. It was a French show about young girls being trained in.
Well, they were dancing, but it was they were very sexualized.
Sexualized.
They were very sexualized
propaganda.
at a very young age.
Yeah.
And the backlash was so strong. Look, this is what's happening. It's why no one will ever drink a Bud Light again,
right?
Ever,
yeah.
Because not in the past, the reason you wouldn't drink a Bud Light is because it tastes like pee-pee. But
right.
Today, ideologically, you say these companies they've gone insane.
Right.
They are out of touch with your average parent. And so they're creating stuff like this, but there's a backlash. So the backlash from Netflix was gigantic when they made this thing called Cuties. And
they have tried to go out and get that audience back by making faith-based content, but they don't actually know what they're doing because they don't
speak that
language, right? So they make things and they're trying to win the audience back.
Yeah.
Well, what that means is there's a large audience out there who, if you can serve them, if you give them the content that they want, then you're blessing people that are. And so we've got a show.
Actually, hang on.
Tell you about when
this
we get
is
back.
what we call a cliffhanger. Lure TV, LOOR.TV. We'll be right back. Folks, welcome back. I'm at NRB with the two gents behind what's called Lure TV, LOOR.TV. And we're talking about, the reason we hit it off a year ago and ever since is because when you guys shared this stuff, I said, I've been talking about this for 30 years. I care about this. I understand what Horace said years ago. This has been my mantra. This has been my raison d'etre. This has been what I see as the answer in this culture. But how do you do it? Who's going to do it? So you guys are doing it. You've created Lure.TV. Now, everybody wants to know, LOOR, what is that? Where'd that come from?
It comes from the word laurels. And so in ancient Greece, when somebody would win in the golden age of Athens, they would win the contest of who had the best drama and comedy. They would get laurels.
Okay, that's the Latin word. The Greek word is Stephanos, victory crown. But lure comes from that LOOR.TV.
From the laurels. And so the one who got to the one who won that contest, their story became the story of the city for the year. So it was the lore. And so that's where that comes from. And so we're in a fight for the story of the city, and the best may the best story win is one of our taglines. And so we're trying to show that if you free Christian creators, that they can actually compete for the best story.
They can compete, and more than compete. Some of the stuff is kick Ars Poetica. What else? But you have just launched this.
We just launched.
So people can subscribe now. That's why I feel like I'm getting a breaking news thing.
Yeah. This is the first time we've done this. We could have done this without you.
I honestly didn't know that. I'm not kidding. Because you mentioned it last night. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, you're the first. Your audience is the first audience that's getting to hear that we have now launched. But you have to go to lore.tv/Eric to do it. We really care about stories and art as art, and art being valuable. And what we want to do is create a platform where artists are truly free to make what they want without Hollywood executives dictating that. And I think we've built that. And I don't think there's anybody making content like we're making content. And it's a lot of fun.
and listen, I'm not kidding. You're the answer to a lot of people's prayers.
Yeah.
You understand that because, folks like me who, some people are artists or visionaries or whatever, but to be able to build something like this and to figure out how to build it and then to build it and then to put it out there, it's a big deal. So that's why I get so excited. A year ago you were talking about it. Now you've done it. Now people can actually subscribe. And I just want to say that I know it will succeed. The question's in the details, but I just know it will succeed because the hunger could not be more keen for this kind of stuff. Yeah. This is nuts.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, conservatives are really good, and we put a lot of money into talk radio because we have the truth, right? And that's what, nobody listens to leftist talk radio. Nobody does.
Yeah, it fails every time.
Yeah. But what we've done is we've said, well, okay, because we have the truth, we don't have to worry about media and stories as much.
Yeah.
But the problem is, because we have the truth, we should be making stories. Because we have that worldview, that center in which all these stories can come from, that we don't have to worry about Hollywood anymore. And when we free the artists to do that.
Well, listen, back when Frank Capra was being allowed to make films, we had this happening. I mean, there were people I watch Turner Classic Movies all the time because about half the time they've got some film on there that is reinforcing, genuine morality and biblical values or whatever it is, even when it's not. I mean, I just watched Jezebel with Betty Davis the other day. That's a morality story.
Yeah.
They try to sex it up like, oh, it's glorifying transgression. No, like it starts that way, but like all good stories, it ends badly, and that person has to come to repentance, and there's redemption, and and that's a 1938 film with Henry Fonda. And Hollywood used to have its finger on the pulse of America, and it made a lot of money, and it drifted and drifted and drifted until it could not be farther from the pulse of America, which is where you guys come in. So that's why I'm just thrilled to death. And you are empowering. I hate that term. What a cliche. You're inviting new young filmmakers to get on board and to make cool stuff.
Yeah. So we've got something like a show like Churchville, where it's a comedy about a mega church and the mega church that's planting across the street and the competition that they're in.
Okay, that's hilarious.
It's so funny.
That is killer hilarious.
So
because how many people know that world of church competition and stuff?
Exactly.
And some of it's really sick, some of it's funny, but you guys have created, so it's called Churchville. Yeah. And when that gets funded, people are going to be able to watch episodes of this.
And you get to see, where they're competing for the cool kid to come be the one who leads their music. The musician that leads pop star classes during the week as his tent building, that sort of thing. And it's very, very funny. And it's a little edgy in the sense that normal way people interact is, but it's not edgy on purpose. It's edgy because the world has sharp edges.
Yeah.
And we sometimes cut ourselves.
Yes, sometimes. But then we coagulate. It's all part of God's plan. No, seriously though, Churchville. When you started telling me about this yesterday, you've told me about it before, but I forgot, and I thought this is just. I am kind of drooling for this thing to happen.
Well, if you look throughout history, the future is always laughed into existence. Whoever's funniest is the one who defines the goals of society going forward.
Who said that? The future is always laughed into existence? That's brilliant. Did you just say that?
I just said that. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I said it first.
Yeah, I think I learned it from you. I'm pretty sure.
The truth is always laughed into existence, and you must have heard that from me because I whispered it moments ago. But it's true.
Yeah.
And listen, there's also something emotionally about humor, about making fun of ourselves. If you make fun of yourself in the right way, not in a toxic way that's tearing down, but that's why I'm so excited about half the stuff you've mentioned. But Churchville is that's particularly exciting. We've got no time left, so I guess this is where I tell people I didn't know this, but suddenly you can subscribe to Loor LOOR.TV/Eric, and this is going to be a fun ride. Congratulations to both of you on the launch finally. And we'll be talking. God bless you.
Thanks so much.
Folks, this is your daily reminder to please go to mypillow.com or mystore.com And to get huge savings, use the code ERIC. If you don't believe me, here are some celebrity friends.
Mama said to use the code ERIC.
Use the code ERIC.
Eric.
Thank you very much.